Hi, I'm Stephen Cuomo, founder and executive producer of Santa Fe Fashion Week. I produce fashion shows, I produce fashion vlogs, and I want to do for fashion what Anthony Bourdain did for food. Welcome back, everybody, to Santa Fe Fashion Week's YouTube channel. I'm Stephen Cuomo, executive producer of Santa Fe Fashion Week. If you haven't had a moment to do so, please take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Hi, I am Deidre Michelle, and I am a SAG-AFTRA franchised agent out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And today we're actually focusing on some more information for actors, pretty much very specifically. And really, this can apply to everybody across the industry spectrum. But we're trying to give some tips for some people really trying to move to New Mexico at this point to try to get into the industry. And really, what we're talking about today is the expectation of how much money you're going to make off of booking jobs. Again, I really feel like this subject could reach across all spectrums of the industry, because whether you're a musician or an actor or a dancer or a model, you keep thinking, oh, I want to make a living off of this. But I think the reality of the situation is you have to have some extra money coming in. I mean, I think you've got to have that financial stability to be able to pursue this industry correctly. I think one of my biggest problems as an agent that I'm finding is if somebody does not have income, then they don't have the money to take acting classes. They don't have the money to get headshots. They don't have the money to do these things to really invest in themselves and their craft. So today, Stephen and I were really discussing the importance of making sure that you have found a way to get that income source, even if it's not a 9-to-5 job, which you don't have a 9-to-5 job, right?
So I see on Facebook there's a lot of castings for extras and background and stand and stuff like that. Would that be a good way to get an extra income while you're waiting for a casting or an audition?
You can. I mean, from an agent's perspective, I would always say that if it's a series where it's something that's going to run for seasons, then if you do any extra work or background work, you've now taken away that opportunity for you to get to actually audition for a speaking role. And so, if you take some of these series where it's like 13 seasons long, right? And you did extra work or background work when you were in your first season, and now it's 10 years later and you're ready to book, but you were in episode 2 of season 1 of Cafe Patron, and now you're not allowed. And so I think it really has to be considered when you go to do extra work or background work. And the times that we're in right now, some people are like, I just need the money. Right. And I always graciously say, I completely understand that, do what you need to do. But if you're able to make a career decision, I would say stay away from, and everybody would say this, right, stay away from doing extra work or background work in any type of episodic or series. I would say do it in more of the movie opportunities. Also, stand-in work. You can do that because you're not actually seen in the camera. You're doing more behind the scenes stuff, but you're getting paid, plus you're still getting experience. So I think that it's not the best option to make extra money. You can find a job where you're working more of a night shift or more of an early morning shift, so you're available for a book out or an audition. But you might have to find a job where it's not a 9-to-5, and it's really hard to have a 9-to-5 when you choose to be in the industry. Right. Because you have an expectation to be at your 9-to-5,
So one of the challenges I know a friend of mine and myself once in a while, we are doing a lot of Zoom type stuff, but more importantly, some self-taping stuff. And so you get a message from your agent and it says check your actor's access. You have an audition or self-taping by a certain amount of time, and sometimes usually it's more than 24 hours, but it's a bit of time out. And so you don't have the pressure of like, oh my God, I got to be somewhere to do an audition. So It's kind of open. But then I know a lot of times trying to find someone to read with you and to tape it, and then to find a time to rehearse.
You've now become the producer of your own audition.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because you have to bring the whole crew together.
Exactly.
So again, finding a job that is like, and I don't want to say at a moment's notice that you have to drop everything, mm-hmm, but again, you do have that pressure, like you're trying to learn your lines on your lunch break or something like that.
Right. Well, and if you have to think about it, like pre-COVID, that was actually the requirement and the expectation of being in the industry, of knowing that if you're at a job and they said, oh, we need you at an audition at 2 o'clock, and you're like, oh, I work till 6, you've missed out on that opportunity, right? Also, I feel like you need to be transparent with your work. I think you need to let them know, I'm in the industry, this is the type of work that I do outside of this. Auditions may come up, or opportunities are going to come up where I might need to leave for an audition, or I might have to take off time to actually book a job. And I think that's the reality of the type of job you need to get when you're in the industry. But still, get a job. I think with the self-tape thing now, honestly, this is one of the perks, which is a weird thing to say, but one of the perks of COVID is instead of, oh, you have to be somewhere at 2 o'clock and you're like, well, I'm working, I can't make it. Now everything right now is virtual or it's a self-tape. And so even if you worked a 12-hour day, you can get home, you can get your self-tape recorded, and then you can get it submitted by the next day. And so I think, to be honest, we now have an opportunity to audition for more things now with self-tape being kind of the standard. And then giving you the opportunity also, which you can, rewind and retape and get it together. But yeah, you have to have a backdrop. You have to have correct lighting. You have to have correct sound. You have to have, somebody reading lines with you. So you do have to kind of become your own producer in sense, but I truly feel like you're going to have more of an opportunity to do more auditions around your work schedule with this new way of auditioning, with it being virtual. So it's not a bad thing, but the main focus is still get that financial income, make sure that you're stable, so that you can support yourself and also invest in your craft so that you can actually be available to book jobs because you'll be, prepared.
That's great information.
Yeah.
I know Tom, going back to acting school, he's leveraged the acting school to they have like a Facebook page, and he'll reach out to him and say, hey, I need someone to help read with me.
Right.
So
there's so many people that you can reach out to, because also, even if it's just a reader, it's great for you to have somebody's energy to bounce off of. Even though the reader's not supposed to have a character, they're not supposed to speak very loud, it's still nice to at least have a reader. And a lot of actors will be willing to help you and do reads. So if you put out on social media, hey guys, I've got an audition, is anybody available to do a read? Also, we've had readers go through Zoom. So if you've got a reader that's, say, in another state or whatever, or isn't able to actually meet you, we have people full on mastering audition through self-tape with their reader being on Zoom. So guys, there is a way, and you might have to work a little bit harder to do it, but again, we've got some more opportunities to get bigger auditions. I think one other thing I want to touch on is we used to have to be in the location to audition. You used to have to go to LA, go to New York, but now you can be in New Mexico and do these auditions that are actually being held in other states. So I think that you need to make a point to invest and also research the best way to do self-tapes. And I think we should actually maybe even do a whole segment on proper self-tape audition etiquette.
I love it.
Sounds
great. So that leads us to segue. So stay tuned for our next Tip Tuesday.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you so much.